Chain 1. The question is never the question. Welcome to Chill Then Conquer, where men stop reacting and start leading. So she asks you, "How old are you?" And in that instant, most men fall into the trap. They think it's just a number game. They think they need to justify it, to soften it, to explain it away. "I'm 45, but people say I look younger. I'm still in shape, though. Is that okay with you?" All wrong. Not because the number is wrong, but because your energy is wrong. Let me tell you something ancient. The question is never the question. It is a mirror. And it doesn't reflect your age. It reflects your relationship to yourself. She already knows. Let's get one thing straight. If a younger woman is spending time with you, flirting with you, looking into your eyes and asking how old you are, she already knows you're older. She has eyes. She can sense life experience. She can feel the difference between a boy and a man. She's not looking for the number. She's scanning for insecurity. She's not measuring digits. She's measuring presence. She's testing what she can't see with her eyes. Do you own your time? Are you ashamed of where you are in life? Are you proud, or are you still performing? Because make no mistake, the moment you falter in your answer, she knows. She feels it in her spine. You're not sure of yourself, and women do not submit to unsure men. The Stoic Mirror. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are disturbed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Your age is not the problem. Your reaction to it is. Your doubt, your hesitation, your need to explain, that's what reveals weakness." So let me reframe the question. When she asks, "How old are you?" what she's really asking is, do you lead with shame or strength? Do you define yourself or seek validation? Have you made peace with time, or are you running from it? A Stoic man does not run. He does not hide. He stands rooted in what is, not what should be, because time is not an enemy. It is the sword that sharpens the man. She is feeling for your frame. This is about frame, always. When you answer anything in life, you are projecting your internal frame. Are you the chooser or the chosen? Are you centered or seeking? Do you react or respond? When she asks about your age, it's a dance of dominance, but not aggressive, subtle. Like a lioness brushing past a warrior to see if he flinches. Don't flinch. Smile. Hold the gaze. Speak with playfulness, not apology, because here's the truth. A confident man could be 60 and still radiate irresistible gravity. An insecure man could be 30 and still feel like a child. Age is not what disqualifies you. Shame is. The test you didn't know you were taking. Here's the hard pill. If you answer with, "Is that okay with you?" "I know I'm older, but I still work out though." She hears, "I'm afraid of losing your approval," and the game ends. Not because of your years, but because you revealed the boy inside the man. What she needs to feel is this. This man doesn't flinch. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't need me to approve. He's already chosen himself. That, brother, is intoxicating. She breaks her own rules. Let me tell you something about women. They all have rules. He can't be more than 5 years older. He must be this, must be that. But rules are fiction when the right feeling hits. And a man with calm power breaks the rules. Not by force, by being unforgettable. She might say, "You're too old for me." But if she feels you are the man that sees her, holds space, remains unfazed, she'll break her rule, every time. Because women bend to the presence of a man who does not bend to them. The real power is this. When she asks, "How old are you?" you are being offered a choice. Shrink into performance and doubt. Rise into presence and direction. Every man has a moment when he decides, do I lead with scarcity or certainty? Do I answer like a boy asking to be liked? Or do I respond like a man who is already full? There is no perfect line, but there is a perfect state. The state where you know, I am not the one being selected. I am the one deciding what aligns with my path. In that state, you can say anything. You don't deflect. You don't justify. You simply are. I'm 48, and I've never felt more dangerous. Old enough to know exactly what I want. You're bold asking that. I like it. Let's talk about things that matter. Speak from truth. Speak from frame. Speak like time has made you better, not bitter. Because it has, if you let it. The Stoic reminder, Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." And bravery is not loud, it's not aggression. It's the silent refusal to let externals define your worth. A man who owns his age owns every version of himself that got him here. He carries his scars with pride. He doesn't trade experience for approval. He sits like a king in the temple of time, and when someone asks about the date carved on the wall, he smiles and says, "Let's talk about something real." The next up in Chain 2, we break the illusion of answering right and show you how to turn her question into your frame, with dominant ways to answer her without ever chasing approval. Walk steady, stand clear. And remember, she's not testing your age. She's testing your self-possession. Chain 2. The frame is the throne. She says, "How old are you?" And you pause. Not because you don't know the answer, but because the question is never about numbers. It's about frame. And the man who doesn't hold frame doesn't hold her. Let's break the illusion. Age isn't the test. You are. When a younger woman asks a man about his age, it's not about the digits on your ID. She already knows you're older. She can see that. She felt it the moment she met you. In your walk, your voice, your silence, she already did the math. She's asking to see, will you flinch? Will you justify? Will you shrink? Because if you do, it's over before it begins. Most men answer like this: I'm 50, but I work out. I'm 47, but everyone says I look younger. I'm 55, but I still feel young. But every one of those responses is a quiet apology for existing as you are. And women don't fall for apologies. They fall for altitude. Let's be precise. This moment isn't about age. It's about who's leading. And this is where frame becomes everything. The art of sovereign reframing. The weak man defends his age. The wise man reframes the narrative. You don't answer questions like a servant hoping for approval. You respond like a king, protecting his mystery. Not rude, not dismissive, but sovereign. You flip the current. She asks, "How old are you?" And you smile, calm, grounded. You respond, "Old enough to know what I want. But what about you? Are you old enough to handle it?" Or, "Let's not talk numbers. I'm more interested in energy. And yours is compelling." She'll laugh, she'll blush, but she'll lean in. Why? Because you passed the test she never said she was giving. And in that moment, the dynamic shifts. You're no longer reacting to her. You're leading her into a deeper dance. That's the power of frame. Why women test, and why it's a gift. Let's be clear. Women test because they want to stop testing. They crave a man solid enough not to be shaken by shallow waves. So they throw you a curveball and watch. Will you collapse into justification? Or will you rise above the question like it's beneath your focus? The test is simple, but the consequence is everything. If you get it right, you don't just keep her interest, you elevate it. You become the exception, the calm center in a world of insecure noise. And suddenly, your age becomes irrelevant. Your presence becomes the point. The frame is the throne. A man's frame is his internal kingdom. It's where he stands, what he permits, and what he never explains. When you lose frame, you lose the throne. And if you're not sitting on your own throne, she's not going to sit beside you. Because a queen doesn't follow a man who's asking for directions to his own power. So let's talk truth. Age isn't the barrier. Weakness is. And weakness doesn't live in your body, it lives in your speech. It slips out in nervous jokes, self-deprecation, and "is that okay" energy. You don't need to defend your age, you need to own your experience. Years are not a burden, they're an archive of wisdom, of scars earned and storms endured. Women can feel that when it's real. But only if you wear it like armor, not shame. Real-world templates without losing frame. Let's get practical. You don't need scripts, you need sovereignty. But here are 3 grounded ways to respond, depending on the energy of the moment. 1. The light and flirtatious frame. How old do you think I am? She guesses low. Close. I'm a little older than that. I'll let you guess again later, if we're still talking. This keeps it playful, controlled, and slightly mysterious. 2. The direct and centered frame. I'm 52. These have been the best years of my life. You'll see why. This says, I'm not hiding. I'm proud, and you're lucky to witness it. 3. The reversal frame. Old enough to know what I want, but now I'm wondering, are you old enough for me? Delivered calmly, it flips the dynamic and asserts leadership. You don't need to memorize these, you just need to live in the energy they come from. The older man edge. If you own it. Here's what most men forget. Age can be an advantage if you carry it like an edge. Youth is about speed. Age is about direction. And in love, direction always wins. Women aren't drawn to your years. They're drawn to what your years have taught you. Your calm, your discernment, your refusal to chase. That's the real attraction. You become the man who doesn't rush to impress because he's already impressed himself. You become the man who isn't shaken by beauty because he's seen what comes after it. You become the man who knows the map because he's already been lost and found himself. That's magnetic. Not to every woman, but to the right one. The worst answer. I'm 50, but I work out. Let's break it down. Why is this the weakest possible move? Because you're implying, my age is a problem, but here's my justification. You're giving her control of the frame, and once you do that, you lose everything. Because what attracts her was never your age. It was your command of yourself. A man who doesn't flinch is worth more than a man who flexes. The Stoic truth. Value is internal. You are not your age. You are not your wrinkles, your hairline, or your birth year. You are how you carry those things, with shame or with stillness, with fear or with fire. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That applies here too. Waste no time defending what your age is. Just be the kind of man that age should become. And when you do, she'll feel it. Not in your answers, but in your presence. Final word. Be the fire, not the fuel. A man with frame is the fire. Everything else, her tests, her questions, her curiosity, is just fuel. Fuel doesn't shake fire. It feeds it. When she asks, "How old are you?" don't defend, don't defer, don't diminish. Just smile like the throne is yours and let her lean in to the warmth you no longer explain. Next chain. We'll go even deeper into the edge of selectivity, how the older man's standards become his source of power, and why most women secretly crave the man who says no more than yes. Chain 3. The edge of selectivity. She asks about your age. You pass that test. But now comes the real one, the one no one talks about. Not how old you are, but what you no longer chase. Because the older you get, the more power you carry if you know where to withdraw it. Let's go deeper. The secret power of the man who says no. Most men try to impress women by saying yes. Yes, I'm available. Yes, I'm interested. Yes, I'm still youthful and full of energy. But they forget something crucial. The rarest energy in the world is restraint. And restraint is the mark of a man who's done the work. She doesn't fall for you because you're older. She falls because you don't need her validation. She falls because you can admire beauty without being seduced by it. You see, most women, especially younger ones, are used to men giving away power for a single glance. But when you don't, when you observe without offering anything, that's irresistible. Because it says this, I've seen beauty before, but peace? That's harder to find. And you've become peace. She doesn't need your energy. She wants to earn it. There's something deeply attractive about a man who doesn't need the room to like him, who walks in with presence, not performance, who doesn't chase, but chooses. And when she senses that, she leans in. Because here's the truth, most men are trying to win her. But the man who values his own inner world makes her want to win him. That's the edge of selectivity. The Stoic edge. I am the standard. Epictetus said, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. Most men reverse this. They try to adorn themselves, money, looks, validation, to become someone. But the man who knows himself doesn't need to chase. That's why the older man who owns his age, not with pride, but with peace, radiates the most dangerous kind of energy. Freedom from need. You want her? Beautiful. You don't need her? Powerful. You enjoy her company? Good. You can walk away in silence? Unstoppable. That's not game. That's grounding. How to raise your frame through selectivity. There's a myth that older men should lower their standards to compete. Wrong. Raise them. Not out of ego, but out of clarity. She must offer more than looks. She must offer peace, alignment, feminine softness, an energy that doesn't disrupt but deepens your path. You've walked too far in life to entertain chaos for a pretty face. So you don't audition, you evaluate. And she feels that. She feels the inner counsel in you, the part that doesn't move just because she smiled. That's rare. That's masculine. That's what makes her say, I want to be chosen, not just noticed. She may test you, but you choose the game. You've heard her say things like, you're too serious, you're too quiet, you're too old for me. And instead of defending, you let her speak. Why? Because your value doesn't shake when she pushes it. It stands still. And in that stillness, she realizes she's not the one in control. You're not here to impress, you're here to invite. You are the door. She may knock, but you decide who enters. What you no longer do is your currents. There's a kind of man who's attractive not for what he shows, but for what he withholds. He doesn't flirt with everyone. He doesn't respond to every text. He doesn't post for attention. He's not addicted to being seen. And that mystery, that refusal to entertain the shallow world, it creates a gravity. That's what being a sovereign man is, not a performer, not a pleaser. A presence, a living boundary between the world's noise and your internal stillness. What to look for in her and why most men don't.